I'm walking down the
I do want to say to Donnie and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
I'm from South Carolina, so I just
may not look like you.
Look at Donnie.
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Morris?
Oh, my heart,
Happy 20th anniversary.
my heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? Donnie.
Letting His glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, and dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh.
The doctor lived next door to the janitor to the reverend, and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Donnie, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it all the more.
I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine.
First name's Donnie, last name's Glover, in it to win it for the long haul, baby. All right. So, you know, this week is Black History Month. And for all of those who think that it's a conspiracy, because February is the shortest month of the year, it is not a conspiracy. It's the shortest day of the month, the shortest month of the year. Yes, it is. But it's also a month that where we recognize Frederick Douglass's birthday. And Black History Month, which starts Wednesday, was originally Black History Week. Yeah. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, those guys, fathers of Black history, insisted that we have some time to reflect on the accomplishments of people of color. So we will be highlighting a number of Black history facts. You know, I love Black history. We talk about it all year anyway. But Dr. Carter G. Woodson is known as the father of Black History Month. Now, there were others. I mean, you cannot ignore J.A. Rogers. And he was very good at creating caricatures, cartoons that celebrate Black history. You know, we really don't talk about a lot of Black history these days. We get distracted. A lot of our young people think Black history is not important. Maybe we as adults don't talk about it enough, but there's so much to know about Black history. And you know, for instance, in America, there's this image of Africa that's been painted to the world, that Africa is dark, Africa is ugly, Africa is unevolved, Africa is behind the times. And I need you to know that's all just propaganda. It's no different than the propaganda that Fox News spews every single day. So again, we'll be talking about some Black history. We need to know, for instance, that the oldest DNA on earth comes straight out of Africa. That means that every man, woman, and child can trace their roots all the way back to Africa. The oldest DNA in the world is found in Namibia, down in southern Africa. Don't believe me? Go look it up. Research it. That's where Dr. Cheek Anta Diop was so helpful, because he actually did the scientific research that traces our history. So if everybody came out of Africa, then that means that everybody's African, from the darkest black to the whitest white. That's what it is. But America paints this ugly picture of Africa. We think, for instance, that Africa has no idea of what a high-rise building is. Are you kidding me? The first buildings come out of Africa. I remember during my grad school tenure back in the 90s at Coppin, we had a professor, I won't call his name, white professor, who said something to me, said something to the class. And I'm pretty certain this was the source of some conflict, disagreement between us. He said that civilization started with the Greeks. Now, how the hell could it start with the Greeks? With so much of what they have comes straight out of Africa. What is A squared plus B squared equals C squared? All my poly people know that's the Pythagorean theorem, right? A squared times B squared equals C squared. They named it Pythagorean. So we could think, oh, well, the Greeks came up with that. Okay, well, dum-dum. What do you think those pyramids are? Isosceles triangles. I'm digging back. Lord, I haven't said that word in eons. But that's my point. Hey there, Leroy. Yes, we have to talk about Black history more. Everything comes out of Africa. And so as African Americans, we are often disconnected from the truth. Why? Because we don't go to libraries like we could, should. We don't have a lot of books in our homes. Got a lot of videos, a lot of movies, and those are fine too. But make sure you learn something about where your people come from. Learn something about the 54 countries in Africa. Learn some Black history. So I'm going to go down. I'm not sure if our guest is with us today. Guys, are you there?
I'm here, Renny Bass is.
You're not going to cut your camera on?
It's not. No, I thought it was on.
Yeah, we got to see your pretty face. So as we KIOBA strong, Lamontre. Hey, Lamontre.
Do you see me, Donnie?
No, but we hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to, down the bottom, it says there's a camera option, so they'll come back. I'm going to be talking with Renny Bass, and I think Mr. Rudy Williams is with him. Black history. I shared with you last week about Matthew Alexander Henson, first man to reach the North Pole. It took Dr. Herbert Frisbee to get him the credit. Dr. Herbert Frisbee was a science teacher right here in Baltimore. And what we also don't know is how significant Baltimore is to the big picture. Baltimore is loaded with Black history. Come on, Tyreek, kick it in. Historically, books and libraries have been burned. Yes, indeedy. And you know what else, Tyreek? Like that Queen of England, like King Leopold in Belgium, they stole our stuff. They stole our relics. They dug up our ancestors. You see any African people going to England digging up anybody? They dig up our ancestors. Remember they were digging up King Tut? Some people say a bunch of people died when they opened up that tomb. And they're signifying worse than stealing. People and many people went up in Africa signifying and stealing, taking them people's artwork, culture, books. Yeah, they burned the books. Did you know the oldest Bible in the world is in Africa? There were some Ethiopians yesterday. Let me see how my guys doing. Okay, so the camera not there, but you're there, right?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know why I can't get my camera on.
Okay, well, it's all good. It's all good, Renny Bass. How you doing today?
Doing excellent, man. How about yourself? Feeling strong, KIOBA strong.
KIOBA strong. What is KIOBA?
KIOBA is a collective of black men. The acronym is Keeping It 100 Black Men Association. It's a collective of black men doing amazing things, man, in Baltimore right now. You know, we based in Baltimore, but we will be moving out of Baltimore into Maryland and the greater United States soon. So, but it's a collective of black men doing business together. We thank Obama for the laws that he relaxed for us to be able to do collective economics. So when we talk about black history, we need to talk about some recent black history with Obama and the laws he put in place to allow this to be to take place.
Well, that's a very interesting comment. Obama getting some credit. What Obama do? President Barack Obama.
He relaxed the laws for collective economics. This is what we was trying to do. Technically, it was illegal for more than 100 black people to put their money together and do a business before Obama's administration.
Really?
They're trying to lock us out of this great thing that they call the American dream.
If you were president, Renny, what would you do? What would be the first thing you do?
I would reform the whole criminal justice system. That was the first thing I would do.
Hold up. Now, you know I talk about that all the time. America is 5% of the world's population, but we have 25% of the world's inmates. 1 in 4 inmates on planet Earth are right here in America, half of them black.
That's crazy.
Something's fundamentally wrong. And it goes back to slavery. But this is what a lot of people don't know. There we go. Our history did not start in America with slavery. The first black people in America were not slaves. I told them about it in this book. I told them, like, for instance, I Am Black Wall Street. They say that in they say the year is 1619. I hear all of these scholars. That's why you got to get my book. We were here before 1619. This book tells you about blacks in America in 1525. 1525. I also tell you in the book about Juan Garrido. He was a Spanish conquistador. So the first blacks in America were not slaves. Not to mention that there were black people already in America when the European arrived. We been knew how to sail the seas. Mansa Musa, you've been over there to Mali,
Yes.
West Africa, North Africa. You know about the black people in Morocco. Did you know Morocco was called the Barbary Coast? You were there not long ago.
Absolutely. You met some amazing people there. Black people in Morocco, some amazing people, some amazing Muslims, man, that showed me the time of my life.
We got to learn more about our history, man. You know, as I think about you, and you went to Mecca too, didn't you?
Absolutely.
You know this dude
Yes,
right
sir.
here?
Yes, sir.
Malcolm went there, man.
You asked me all the places I have been, what was my greatest trip, and I'll tell you, it was that trip to Mecca. It was more than just a vacation. It was more than just an experience. It was amazing. I mean, you could feel it. You could, and it was when you bought your ticket, actually, were you Muslim to go into Medina and Mecca? Only way you could buy a ticket. That was crazy.
Those are the two holy. Those are both the two holy cities.
Yes.
Mecca and Medina.
Mecca and Medina. Now you could go to Jeddah. You could get a ticket. Non-Muslim could get a ticket to Jeddah, but not Medina or Mecca. You know,
in terms of black history and Islam, it's my understanding that that Bilal, the man who called the Adhan, Allah Akbar,
Alhamdulillah.
was a black man. I understand that the prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, his father was a black man.
Alhamdulillah. And in Medina, at the prophet's masjid, which is a compound, they have a museum there, and they give you the breakdown of the prophets. And when you're talking about Jesus, Isa, you're talking about the description, the same description that describes you and I is the same description that describes him.
What has America done to our collective memory about black people?
Say it one more time.
What has America done to our collective memory of black people? Like we see Tarzan, when we were kids, Tarzan was on the TV swinging through the African jungle. And we got to thinking, oh wow, a white man run Africa. Now you know, and I know, if them Africans saw a white guy swinging through the vines, they'd have shot his ass.
Absolutely.
He'd have been speared, shot, guard, and feathered. But then we forget about what the Belgians did. But anyway, I don't want to get distracted. I don't want to talk about what they've done to our people and what we have done to ourselves, because we played a hand in slavery. Matter of fact, when you were over there in Morocco, you weren't far from Libya.
Right.
And ain't that far from you, a couple of countries over, across Algeria. But that's
Yemen.
Yemen, that's over there. And, you know, my daddy said there's no such thing as the Middle East. So Saudi Arabia is Africa in his book.
Absolutely. No,
you know, when I was in Jordan, Renny, I never felt so at home. I felt more at home than the people there. I felt at home in the Middle East, in Africa.
It's so welcoming, man. It was, you know, and the people, you know, the myth that Africans and African Americans are at riff and they don't get along and they don't have no respect for each other. It's just crazy. It's just theater.
And then we let these other people come in and tell us who our brother is. So KIOBA, how did he get started?
Well, God. It got started to God. But it's really a brotherhood in motion, man. KIOBA is really a business brotherhood. You know, we went out and played golf. We went to Top Golf yesterday for one of the brother's birthday, man, and just enjoyed ourselves, you know. And we talked KIOBA business. And, you know, sometime today I'll talk to, I know Lamontre is on the line. Sometime today I'll talk to Lamontre for some KIOBA business. He is an amazing young brother too, man. You know, this brother is amazing for the things that he's doing in the city. You know, he's our millennium. He's our youngest brother. And I'm so proud of that brother, man, for what he's doing, what he has been doing. And I met him maybe 5 years ago. And he was already in the game.
So we gave him a Black Wall Street Award. His picture's actually on a promo. You, him, and myself, when we were down at the Downtown Cultural Arts Center, your facility. Who is he?
Say it again.
Who is Lamontre?
Lamontre Randall is one of my KIOBA brothers. He's a good friend of mine, man. A serious young brother. He is the construction piece. He went out and got brought the MHRC license into KIOBA. Just took the initiative to go do it himself. He is just a phenomenal young brother, man. And he's my little brother and my KIOBA brother, and I'm proud to say that.
You know, is that the hat? The KIOBA hat?
Is one of them. KIOBA line is coming out, man. Be in a store near you real soon. We got some gear for you down in Glover too.
What else
is gear for you?
Okay, what else they sell? What else are you gonna put it on any other clothing? You know,
we got jackets, we got t-shirts, we got sweatsuits.
Sweatsuits.
Yeah, we consulting with some young ladies right now, so we can do a women's line, KIOBA women's line. We have a lot of support for young ladies, man. Women love the concept of what we're doing.
Tell me about that, Renny. I was having a conversation over the weekend about how Black people, we have $1.6 trillion, $1.5 trillion in annual disposable income. We'll go out and spend exorbitant amounts of money on things that at the end of the day don't change our trajectory as a people. And women, black women, they control much of that money. How do we get on the same page? How do we get back? How do we pull back from spending on things that don't really help us?
Well, I think it's conversations like this, your show, for instance, and big shout out to Be More News and Donnie Glover. We need to support you more so you can affect and reach more people. But I think that's it. I think just educating, making moves. We as in KIOBA, we try to lead by example. We don't have a whole bunch of conversation. We just go do the work, get it done, and say, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it. So and then, because we don't believe in the concept of fixing houses. We believe in the concept of fixing communities. So we go into a community, we're not just there to fix a house. We want to talk to the community, we want to know what's going on and how we can help.
Well, you saw what was going on in my neighborhood. Less than 3 blocks from my house, they shot 5 people, and I heard the shots. 5 people, 60 seconds. Boom, 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 boom. Even some inadvertent passerbys. We are better than that, Renny. And then I hear the mayor. You might want to step off for this one, but I hear him pointing the finger when I don't hear anybody saying about the police who allowed this loitering to fester. People can't even go into the sub shop, into the corner store, because there are people hustling. And I ain't knocking the hustlers, but these are older people a lot of times, just trying to get a coffee, a hot tea, a sandwich, and they got to step through all of this foolishness. So all of the madness break out, boom, 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 boom. And the police around there, and it's like, the 60s riots all over again. But in 48 hours, it'll be right back to where it is. But the law enforcement knows where this foolishness is. They know where Penn North is, and they allow it to fester because the consent decree. I forgot that lady who got the consent. Oh, I know her name, Catherine Elizabeth Pugh. She ran over there to Barack Obama, and said, we need a consent decree. And so the consent decree came in. The cops got hemmed up like, and now the cops don't want to do their job, and they just step back, let them kill each other. That's what it is. Let them kill each other. And then over the weekend, we see the Gun Trace Task Force of Memphis, 5 black cops beat their young man like a runaway slave.
Well, I think it's like the continuous, and it's kind of crazy that I'm saying this now, right? And I'm gonna tilt the camera so you can see my man. We sitting here having some business, doing some business, and he just happened to fit into this conversation. You see what that is right there?
Uh-oh. There's the general, Mr. Rudy Williams. Rudy,
hey, man, what's up? Good morning, man. How you doing?
Man, this is wartime, man.
All the time.
How you been, Mr. Rudy? Man, everybody know you, Mr. Rudy.
Yeah.
What's happening with our community, big brother? We shooting each other like we ain't got no love for each other. 15 years old, killed up Forest Park. How do we change this? What do we do? Whose fault is it? When will it stop?
It stopped when we all make it a priority, Johnny. Over chasing money, big houses, cars, watches.
Aren't those things important? Don't we need these material possessions?
Yeah, but we dead ain't do us no good. We need life more than that.
I think we also need resources in our community, man. We also have to figure out a simple system of us taking care of us, because the system of them taking care of us clearly is not working. It's not the answer. So we have to also focus on us taking care of us. And like Rudy was saying, it had to be a priority. You know, you might have to sacrifice some things in our community. We don't like that word sacrifice, but we have to.
Why don't we like the word sacrifice?
Because that means you got to give up something. You got to give up something of yours to give to somebody else. And you know, we need to sacrifice a generation to catch up with the turmoil that's happening to our future generations. We have to, you know, I mean, like you said, ain't no work, ain't no nothing. To just strictly concentrate on getting this next generation over the hump to where they have to be. So I'm saying I'm not saying not to work, but that can't be the focus. The focus has to be everybody take a step up in your own community and step up and step in.
Mr. Rudy, what would you advise the mayor right now? We just had 5 people get shot around the corner from me, Pennsylvania and Lawrence. 5 people shot in the middle of the damn day. I heard the shots. Boom, 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 boom. Then somebody come back. Boom, 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 boom. In broad daylight.
I would say
on the train, Mr. Rudy. Broad daylight. People urinating on the subway. Broad daylight. I saw a woman swear to beans. Swear to beans. Somebody either stole a wheelchair or she forgot it. She had one foot that was amputated. So she was crawling down the street, man. And looked like she was getting high all night. We done seen enough coke and dope in people. We know the effects. Looked like she was getting high and lady brought her some water and some orange juice. It's early in the morning. The dog is barking. I'm stunned. I've never seen anybody crawling down the street in my life. The dope, the fentanyl. Everybody want to be hustler. What happened to us, Mr. Rudy? Where's the love?
I don't know, somewhere down the line we lost it. And I would tell the mayor, you know, stop focusing on symptoms and focus on the disease, the cause that's driving people crazy to kill each other, kill themselves, anywhere, anytime, anybody. I would say to focus on the symptoms. And I would say this too in terms of sacrifice. The reason why we don't sacrifice, because we think too small. We think it's tiny. We think in the way they train us to think. Fighting over peanuts. Every day I see it.
Mr. Rudy, I remember I was about 20. My mother just died. I had this gold chain, and it had her ring on it with the birthstones of my siblings. Coming out of Easterwood Park, cut down Bentlow, and this cat backtracked on me because I cut down the alley. Don't cut down the alley. Shortcuts are dangerous. Run up on me. We get to tussling. He pull out a gun. I'm wrestling. Next thing I know, I'm in the hospital. I got to get my hand stitched up. I see this cat. No more than 2 weeks later, down Gilmore Homes. And as angry as I was, I just asked him, I said, why don't you go out to Towson and rob somebody out there? Why are you robbing your own people? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
We get scared.
Yep.
Why don't we take that heat to people who deserve it, like Donald Trump? Why won't they lock him up, Mr. Rudy?
They won't lock him up because he's one of them. Simple as that. He's one of them. They shut him down because he didn't play the game right. He wasn't supposed to expose the game so nakedly like that, So they shut him down, right? But they're not going to put him in jail,
Mr. Rudy, if you don't file your taxes, they'll be on you like you stole something. He said he ain't showing his taxes. He do whatever he want. He's a traitor. He caused the insurrection, got them people climbing the wall. What would have happened if we climbed the walls of the Capitol?
So, it wouldn't be the White House no more.
So let me just say this, Don. He had two of the most. It's 3 components, right? And he had the 3 of the components that it takes to get things done in this country. He has money, he has whiteness, and he has power. With the ignorant people that follow him. So with those combinations, right? This is the law. He sits up here. So if he was to lose two of those components, then maybe they would be able to deal with him. But in their system that they built, that's like kryptonite. He has the tools like kryptonite, untouchable. So we're watching this in prime time. It says nobody above the law, but we understand that even down to the lowest person on the street, the lowest person in the government is the police on the street. It's okay for them to lie in their investigations. You know what I'm saying?
Police don't lie, do they?
Yeah, well, not only do they lie, man, just like we was talking about what happened in Memphis, right? I don't think it's about Brandon or nobody else having a conversation for our safety against the police, right? In our own community, we got to deal with that. We got to have the OGs step into the community and take the hit and say to the brothers, rules and regulations to the streets. And if you violate these rules and regulations, we're going to violate you. There's a real conversation that needs to be had. But the real conversation with the police is the same thing. No more illegal activity from the police. No more. So it's very simple. It's a very simple conversation. I had this with police, with 3 different police and 3 different conversations over this weekend. And all of them got frustrated and got mad about the conversation.
Renny,
I want
to bring something to you that I read in the Quran. It's out of and pardon my vernacular, it's out of the Spider, number 29.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, have the people suppose that they will be left alone to say, we believe. I'm going to say it again. Have the people suppose that they will be left alone to say, we believe, without being put to the test. Right. We have tested those before them. God will surely know the truthful, and he will surely know the liars. Is this a test of faith?
It really is. It's really a test of faith, but I think it's a real conversation with the law enforcement from the community. Because, at this juncture as Black men, we realize that the system is not going to protect us. And if you fool to think the system is still going to protect you, then we just got to let you sit by yourself until you understand that what's happening and for real, what's really happening. And then the real conversation is this. You know what I'm saying? The same thing you have with any enemy, any oppressor, right? We done with it. We finished. So any illegal activity is going to be matched with any illegal activity. If you beat, rob, and kill us, we're going to beat, rob, and kill you. And if you have a problem with that, then you are the problem. Very simple.
Mr. Rudy, what does it mean to be from Baltimore? You've been all over the world. When they find out you're from Baltimore, what's the reaction?
Well, I ain't did too much travel since I've been home, but while I was in federal, they moved you around, and I met people from all over the world, all the states in the United States, and how people see us in Baltimore, they see us as a hard town, pretty hard town, but they know that we stand up, we give respect, and we play fair than most other towns. I don't know if that's still true anymore, but that's the reputation we have.
What can we do to reach these young people, Mr. Rudy?
I'm gonna tell you what they did in Africa some years back. Library. This goes to sacrifice too. All the women, they had a war going on, killing each other. It got so bad, right, that all the women said enough is enough, and they came down and they sacrificed. They got in between them and women on both sides. So now you gonna kill your mother and your sister if you keep this war going on. That's the sacrifice. They stopped everything they was doing, their jobs, everything. Fun, vacations, whatever they doing, and they stopped everything. They said enough is enough. And they stood in a line of fire to stop a war. And right here, everybody got something to do, excuse and all that. that they committed to. I don't have the time. Let them, let somebody else handle it. Let the government handle it. They get paid for that and all. But they not have been handling it.
Mr. Rudy, in your time away, you became a playwright. Were you writing plays before you went away?
No, I was not.
What made you write a play?
What made me write a play? It was like a whole gang of things confusing together, they're massing together. It was, I started out writing letters. I seen the power of the pen, how you can use words to bound people to you. And I went from there, from letters to short stories to novels, screenplays, jokes, whatever pertains to writing and all. Then I was attracted to it.
How did you see, what do you mean the power of the pen? You know that's my gun. This is my tool. What do you mean the power of the pen?
That's real, you know. With the pen, you can make a person cry, you make them sad, make them sick, you make them laugh.
Be right back. Keep going.
It's a lot of things you can do with the pen. Because the pen is powerful. Your words resonate with other people. Then you have influenced people, especially in a positive way. Because words have words matter. Words have consequences. Most of the time, all this killing going on out there in the streets is because of words. They use them wrong. Whether it was at the beginning of these things, or while these things was going on, or way before, when the thought was shaping and forming your mentality, all the movies, violent movies, and violent this we see, the violent lyrics in the songs, and even in the R&B. Well, R&B always been mostly about, romance, love, It was inherent violence in there, not in the form that we know, but the form of emotional, mental, spiritual. And now it's increasingly, in R&B. You ain't got more money, get out, ain't nothing going on but the rent, You gotta have a job and all that. That's war talk.
She said you don't bring that money home. No money, no honey.
Right.
Ain't nothing going on but the rent.
So the power of prayer is amazing and it's liberating. That's one of the reasons I was writing too, is liberating.
Here's a question from Tyreek. What are your thoughts on the increase of guns in our communities? What are your thoughts on the increase of guns in our community?
My question to me, my thoughts is that that's what they want. They can't stop it. They can't stop the guns. They tell us they can't stop these guns and all that. But they can see all the way out in the universe.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan was building up Star Wars, building up machines to kill aliens. But you can't see that. You can't see them guns.
I bet if they would go bars, they'd be able to stop them. If they would go bars, they'd be able to infiltrate and stop them from getting in our community.
Yeah.
So the guns are being dumped on us. The fentanyl's being dumped on us. We got, Renny, when we were 15, sure, there was some 15-year-olds who had guns. But Renny, I think that number has increased dramatically.
Or it's been flipped. The amount of 15-year-olds that had guns back in the day,
yes.
Now they're the number of 15-year-olds who don't have guns. You understand what I'm saying? It's been flipped because probably like 60% of the kids, the youth in the street, they armed. You know, when I say in the street, I ain't talking about on the corner hustling. I'm talking about traveling back and forth to work. It's like a war zone in the streets of Baltimore and every major metropolitan city.
Definitely is.
It's like a war zone. You know, we talk about it like it's business as usual because we kind of detached from it. But get on the public subway. Ride the public subway.
What they dealing with in Philly, Renny? You've been to Philly. Philly, one of your places.
Yes.
What's happening in Philly?
What happened in Philly is the same thing. Disenfranchised, disconnection, you know, years and years and years of neglect. You know, the public education system. You know, it's all a cycle. It's all together. There's no one piece or two pieces. It's all connected. You know, so it's the disenfranchised of hope in our community. Where the hope at? What's going to happen tomorrow? You know what we're waiting for? We're waiting for a tragedy. We're watching the clock like we're waiting for a game to come on, like we're waiting for a tragedy.
What about fatherlessness, Renny? In our time, I've watched you with your son, with your daughter. I've watched you take care of moms. I've watched you keep family first. What about fatherlessness in the Black community?
Well, I think that the righteous men in the community have to call that out. When brothers are not stepping up, taking care of their kids, and you know it, you have to call it out. You know, you can't make them comfortable. You can't be comfortable in the community. If you know a brother not taking care of his kid, he can't come and hang out with you. You shouldn't be able to sit in the barbershop and chat. You know, shun him. Don't give him nowhere comfortable to go. Make him get out and do what he's supposed to do and come back with his son so he can, you know, be welcomed back in. You know what it's doing.
And what about the mothers who won't allow men to see their children?
Well, that's a whole different story. We need legislation for that. We need to be able to have to streamline this, because not paying the money, you get to court as soon as they put the charge in. Not seeing your kids, that could take years, you know, because it's no priority. It's a part of the system.
Like, hey, Mr. Rudy, you remember that movie? Was it Claudine?
Yeah.
Had James Earl Jones in.
I remember that. Mr. Welfare.
Yeah, the welfare worker came around. James Earl Jones jumped out the window or something.
Yeah, I remember the movies. I remember the song, Mr. Welfare. What was the title?
Claudine.
Before my time, y'all.
He remember. Hey, Mr. Rudy, as the violence unfolded this weekend, we did a special. And somebody commented on the movie Cornbread, Earl and Me. Did you see that movie?
I saw that movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I saw it up at the Met, Penn North, the Met. Remember the Met was up there?
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know, like I understand now, but that movie was about the same thing, a police shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, Daddy, I got an idea for you, man.
Okay.
All right. We need to hold a symposium, man, like we're doing now, with live people in the audience and all that, and talk about this.
When you want to do it?
Whenever it's possible, feasible.
Oh, it seems like we need to do it right away because our city is in trouble.
Yeah,
I got a question. Mr. Rudy, what's up with Fox News?
Well, you know, Fox News is going about the business of upholding white supremacy. It's got to be defended. It's under attack all over the world. People know what it is now, what it looked like, what it smelled like, what it tastes like.
Should Black people work at Fox, considering the racists that they are?
No. Hell no.
I think Black people should work in there, but not the ones that's there, you know. It's going to parakeet every lie and allow somebody to write their report and they read it off the teleprompter. So, but I doubt that type of person can get in there.
Right, that person will never make it in there. You know?
Oh, you don't think I could work at Fox?
Yeah. I think you can work at Fox. All right, you know what I'm saying?
They should have
all of one shift.
You better go in disguise.
I'd love to see you as the opposing voice.
You can't go as Donnie Glover. You won't get through the front door.
What happened when you see some of our people who go on Fox? Do we realize? I mean, Renny, these are black people we otherwise respect, but we see them on Fox, and it's like, ugh.
It's called sellout, Mike. I mean, Don, it's called sellout. You know what I'm saying? Anything for a buck. Our problem is in our community is when you think about us as a people, right? Who is that? Who are we as a people? When you break us down as a people, you break down the different cultures of who we are, what makes us up as a people. And we just as disconnected as we are from the Europeans.
And Danny, all right, some of our people so weak, right? Speaking of the ones that be on Fox News you're talking about, you know, it's not just the money. The money is important too, right? But more important than the money is to get a pat on the head. They want to be approved.
Right.
Self-esteem is low and weak, and they want that pat on the head.
And they feel better about themselves when they get it.
You can train a dog to damn near do anything. You pat a dog on the head, he happy. He might do a flip, double flip, jump up in the air.
But for sure, he's going to wag his tail. That's for sure.
All that for a pat on the head. His master pat him on the head, he happy, you know. And some of us is doing that.
What did you think when you came home and you saw what we dealing with out here, Mr. Rudy?
It was slow. It started to take a toll from Daddy, but it was slow. When I come home, I was in a bubble of optimism, you know. And I had a picture of the world, America, a broad picture, but very little details. Now the details start to fill, and then I'm starting to see, you know, like, this is bad, really bad. It's bad.
You introduced me to Miss Gwen Levi. I talked to her briefly last night, and she's on her way to New York, I think, for April, for a symposium for returning citizens. So one thing I know, well, two things. I know you've written some plays, and they have touched all generations, but you also introduced me to Miss Gwen Levi, and she's actively involved, a direct result of you.
Yeah. School me on that. Well, she's on her way to what, symposium in New York?
Yeah, in New York City. But she also, you know, she went down to Atlanta. Because of you, she's doing national work.
I don't know if I can take all that credit, you know, but
and she wouldn't have met me if it weren't for you.
Oh, okay. I was thinking that in the back of my mind and all.
You introduced me to her. I passed the ball. Now she gone all over.
Yeah.
She's excited too.
Yeah, she is. Renny, tell me about Miss Gwen Levi. Why is she excited?
She's a serious sister, man. You know, she come back to the community and she's serious about, you know, they treated her really wrong, man. The system, they really torched her. And instead of being bitter, you know, she spent her time and her energy to make sure that it don't happen to other people, and the people who coming home, to get them an opportunity, to get them a shot. I have not but love and respect for that.
They violated her because she didn't know. They sent her back to prison because she didn't know how to use the technology on a phone. And she was really troubled by that.
Yeah, I guess she is. I'm saying, you know, if you spend one day in jail,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying, people troubled by that. So, you know what I'm saying? The fact that they sent her back to jail after she had spent all that time in prison, it just shows that the continued trauma that this system don't have no problem putting our people through, you know, on a day-to-day, everyday basis.
And you know, Danny, out of all the things she doing and still is doing, the most important thing to me is that she's not bitter. You can't do these things when you're bitter, you know? You can't do anything when you're bitter. And you get mad. All you do is get mad and mad about the same thing, thinking over the same thing. Why is it like that? Why did that happen? Why they got to be this way and all that? That's going to make you bitter. That's probably one of our big problems is everybody's bitter. I see it every day, the way they talk, they bitter. And they don't know that there's something wrong with that. There's something, they blind to that.
Did you ever hear Nelson Mandela talk about that? After 27 years in prison, he came out and he said he was not bitter.
No, I didn't exactly.
He said something similar to what you just said.
I could see it though,
I seen the quote that he said. I ain't hear him say it, but I seen the quote.
Yeah, that's a very important one. Whatever you go to, it ain't gotta be prison. It could be a rough divorce. It could
Sickness.
be a knockout, bang out argument with a child, one of your children, or sibling or anybody.
Ooh.
I see the anger, man. The anger is like a atomic bomb waiting to explode. I see the anger real, and then the anger go back to self-esteem. And why is our self-esteem is so poor these days and all that? Because we're not even in control of our own livelihood. I mean, man's self-esteem is based on productivity, and we're not productive. System don't need us no more. They got robots, man. They got AI, artificial intelligence, and so they don't need us no more. And when you need it, you feel useless and all that. Poor self-esteem.
Is it true that to the American government, a kingpin is more dangerous to release back on the streets than a murderer?
Yeah, that's how they see that. That's how they see that. Kingpin.
Why?
Because kingpins, to become a kingpin, you have to use your brain, even though you're in the wrong side of the law. You have to use your brain. You're a thinker, But
organize.
To kill somebody, to kill somebody, you don't need no brains to do that.
And as an organizer, not only do you make things happen, but you affect other people, have them make things happen as well. And I believe that this, and I'm glad you brought that point up. And my brother Rudy, we speak about this all the time. How we reversed and used the same influence that the system came down on us for. How we used that same influence to turn it around and affect the streets in a positive way. Because it's certain people that can't, it's the people that you want to affect, the most dangerous people on the street, you can't walk up to them with a system in a shirt and tie and say, I got something for you. They're not going to trust you. It's got to be somebody that they know, somebody that they trust.
And the danger of letting the kingpin out is that most kingpins are leaders. They can lead people, organize and all. Suppose that kingpin, right? You let him go. He come out here and he's changed. And he leads for positive things like that, programs and all. That's a problem. That's a problem right there. Because he interfered with their plans, the master plan, which is keep change on our minds.
I think they're more afraid of not him returning back to the street doing what he was doing, like really said, having a positive effect on the community. And I think that's why they hold our kingpins down for so long, for the crimes that they've been getting away with for years, decades.
Mr. Rudy, did you look up the Willie Adams?
Did I look up? I didn't. If you say you look up respect, yeah. I respect his business mind, his leadership too.
Who did you look up to as a young person?
I look up at George Jackson, Che Guevara. Those two.
George Jackson, Soledad Brothers?
Right. George Jackson, Che Guevara. George Jackson looked up to Che Guevara.
Che Guevara, and he was that Cuba? No. El Salvador, what
That
country
was
was shaking?
Cuba.
Cuba?
That was Cuba. He's in Argentina. Castro met him studying at the university where Castro was exiled from his own country. He toured South America, all the universities. He had a plan. He was going back. So he recruited about 80 students. Che Guevara was one of them, going to the University of Argentina. He became the leading voice, the leading figure, more so than Castro, you know, because he's a brilliant guy, you know, brilliant, fearless. His love for humanity knows no bounds. He sacrificed his life for it. Talking about sacrifices.
You talking about Argentina? You talking about some natural resources that the world cannot do without, including oil, if I'm not mistaken.
True. And you got people that think that the world belongs to them. This ain't nothing new here. This just go all the way back to the modern British Empire, 1500s, and the Pope, even before 1500s. Going back to the Vatican thousands of years, the idea evolved, you know, that the earth belonged to the Catholics. The Pope was God's man on earth.
Why we don't see no black Pope? Where the black Pope at? Where's the black Pope?
They say it's one behind the scene. He's not black like us. His soul is black. Called what's his name? Iglesias. Iglesias somebody. He's a Jesuit, you know.
You know, my understanding is the black bishops went to the first Nicene Council back in 325 AD, and they saw the chicanery that was going on, and they never went back. And I think that's around the time that Jesus turned white, because you can't be white in that part of the world. You cannot walk through Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, and the rest of them places without some damn melanin and you fall out.
It's funny you said that. That's when everything started turning white. And I had a conversation with my brother Sapphire yesterday.
Sapphire Rob?
Yeah. And I think it came up. I was telling him, like, racism is only 500 years old. Racism don't go back that far. You got other prejudices, nationalism and pluralism and, you know, and family, my family is better than yours type thing. But racism as a concept and ideology, world concept, it started about 500 years ago. Just 500 years ago.
I want to ask y'all one last question. Is it time we partner up with the Chinese? Now, Renny, you've been to Africa most recently. All in Tanzania, South Africa, other places. The Chinese are building like never before. And I saw a simulated war between the U.S. and China mashed the U.S. because they got more people. They got we had goofy. They got 1.3 billion. That's like me and you having a fight, Renny, then you go home and get your brothers and you got 1.3 billion people. And I got like 400,000.
Listen, when I was in Shanghai, right? I come down the step to get on the tuba. I think it's the tuba, the subway.
Uh-huh.
And when I turned around and looked behind me, right, it was like a sea of Chinese people. I mean, like, as far as the eye could see. And I'm talking about within 10 minutes. So that answers your question right now. But I say this, Don, it ain't about the people, right? It's not about what country you're from. It's about your consciousness. So I think that all the conscious, all the conscious, decent, dignified people of the world should unite against evil.
It's happening.
I don't think it's country to country. I think it's a culture of decency and somebody who have empathy for others. These are the people, like-minded people that need to unite. not just us, when you say us as a people, because, you know what I'm saying, we reunite with China, and we got some of the people that's with us that's stabbing us in the back. They just, you know, how does that help the cause?
All right, so any advice for the new governor, Wes Moore?
Yes, come sit down to the table with KIOBA. Come sit to the table with KIOBA. Come sit to the table with Black Men Unifying Black Men and understand how things run from a different perspective. Because when you get your city and you get the narrative from the city, from the political powers, they are paid to lie. They paid to lie.
My advice would be this. I know he can't do everything himself. He needs an army of help and all that. And he will get it, but empower the right people, man. Empower the right people. Stop empowering people that don't have no solutions. Been preaching the same message for years and years and years. And the whole thing is, we always talk about a solution, like to all these mass killers happening around the country every day, you know, 2 or 3 on one day. But nobody never asked themselves, like, why can't we stop it? The reason why you can't stop it is because you are protecting the main cause. And the main cause of it is the economic system called capitalism. Zero-sum game, you know. One person win everything, the other person wins nothing. Total loss, you know. And that's what's going on. Nobody's never, you can't mention, you know, like, let's look at the economy, why people are alienated, why they self-esteem. You know, this is not new, you know. They suppressed the books and all that, misinterpreted them all, but people spoke on this years ago in clear terms.
You know,
Karl Marx, President Ingram, even though I'm not a communist, all Marxists, but their thoughts and ideas, they have some powerful thoughts and ideas which reveal, you know, tremendous insight. If a person want to understand what's going on and don't look at the economy clearly, sociologically, you know, take off all their ideologies, their preconceived notions and mental inclination, and look at it totally naked, and it's gonna keep going on, Donnie. It's gonna keep going on.
So listen,
Hey, Donnie, I got one question. I got one question.
Okay.
I see Bob. I see Mr. Murphy. You know, next phase. I want to know how I get in this. Get my. I want to see my name going across the bottom of the screen. So give me a shout out so I can make that happen. All right, bro.
Well, we're gonna do that right away. So while we got you there, Willie Adams, when he ran the numbers, what you wanted to say? KIOBA Strong, is there a phone number?
KIOBA Strong. Put my number down for the time being, and then we'll change it out when I get the get my brother.
I mentioned Willie Adams, and Willie Adams, to my understanding, helped educate the Maryland State Lottery when it first came on board. And this is where I'm going. When they first, Mr. Rudy, you remember 1973, when they brought the lottery out, they said that it's going to be money for education. That's what they said. It's going to be money for education. Now, that was 1973. How you like that? You see that, KIOBA Strong?
Oh, man, yeah.
So hold on. Let me see. You missed it. There you go again. You see it? Bam.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, that's nice. Now I want to see the downtown cultural center.
Oh, okay. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, run me up, baby. Run me up.
So how is it that we got $15 billion that has come through the Maryland State Lottery, but we still got classrooms in 2023 with no heat? I just want to know that. Am I missing something?
Disinvestment, fraud, and theft. Let's start right there.
disinvestment,
spade a
fraud,
spade.
and theft. So somebody lying and stealing.
Absolutely. And because of them lying and stealing, it's disinvestment to the community. And this is why our schools look like they do. Our community look like it's nowhere impossible. If you look at Washington, D.C., and look at Baltimore, while we look the way we look and in the condition that we're in. No way possible.
They got areas too. They got to get those up there too.
Not like we got here. They got pockets. I mean, we got the whole west side is a ghetto. You know what I'm saying?
Downtown Cultural Arts Center. You see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. You call me, man, we get off the show. That's
Mr.
what I'm
Renny,
talking about.
Mr. Renny, you have a black card in my book because you've always been supportive. As Mr. Rudy, we got to get more of that going on, more of us supporting each other.
Definitely.
We don't. We'll go over there and help total strangers and not even speak to the brother or sister next door. We don't even know our neighbor's name.
Because we're out of our minds, man. We're out of our minds. Even the best and the educated ones, so-called, they don't know how to use their brains, the education that it was given enough. We out of our minds, completely out of our minds.
Hey, man, not to make this a sad thing, but we done lost some brothers that we need to. I haven't had a chance to talk with you, but we've lost some soldiers. We've lost some soldiers, man. Brother Ellsworth Bay, Ashe. Brother Ellsworth Bay was reported last week publicly that a Nigerian hospital worker knocked him down, broke his hip, and hit him in the head and killed him. Brother Malik Rahman, and I'm not sure he ever told me his nickname was Gypsy, but Malik Rahman helped multiple brothers and sisters who were behind the walls. Muslim.
Alhamdulillah.
Gone on. They've had his janazah. We've lost some giants, Renny. You've lost giants.
Yeah, man, absolutely. But the thing is you know, it's the next man up. Just like, you know, on any winning football team, any winning team, period, it's the next man up. And we got to step up. We got to step in. We got to keep the legacy going because there's a lot of serious brothers here, man, you know, doing some great work. And big shout out to my man Dennis Wise over there at Safe Streets, man, putting the work in, man. You know, he doing this thing.
That's right.
Yeah, alhamdulillah for the brother. You know, it's all they got.
Any shout outs, Mr. Rudy?
Yeah, I want to shout out to you, one. My brother Renny right here. Brother Safir.
Safir Rob.
Yeah, my brother-in-law, Stephen Kashif. Whole gang of women, beautiful women. There's too many of them for me to name them all. But I want to shout out to all the people in Baltimore that's still strong. Thinking positive, trying to do positive things. Like, don't stop, don't give up. It can happen.
Big shout out to Damon Williams, Pilot's King. Amazing floors he doing. Don, you got to see this guy. I got to get y'all together. You got to come on your show. See what he doing. You know.
All right, Renny, you set this whole thing up. You get the final word, and we're gonna get on up out of here.
Well, I just want to leave us with this one thought, man. That, you know, no generation is responsible for itself. So when we look at what's happening in the streets right now in Baltimore and across the country, you know, is the people who are involved. They're not responsible for what's going on to themselves. We, this generation, is responsible for the generation behind us. And we have to sacrifice, we got to do the work, and we got to take that on, and we got to own that responsibility. KIOBA strong, my brother. Support the Downtown Cultural Arts Center, the shops at North and Charles. Be more news. One love, Donnie Glover.
Black Wall Street.
One love, big brother.
One love.
All
Peace
right,
and
man.
blessings.
Good morning, world.